Welcome back to our countdown to a resurrection. Today is Wednesday of Holy Week. It's moving along so quickly. Traditionally, the Wednesday of Holy Week is called Spy Wednesday, which is one of the reasons why we decided to have a little bit of fun and film outside of the Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. But the reason why it's called Spy Wednesday is not because of a cool reason, but it was on Wednesday before the crucifixion that Judas conspired with the religious leaders of his day to kill Jesus. According to the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 14, here is how that went down. Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priest and asked, "What are you willing to give if I deliver him over to you?" So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver, and from that point on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over. So what was Jesus worth to Judas? Right? The Bible tells us he sold him for 30 pieces of silver, but the more important question is what is Jesus worth to you? What are you willing to sell Jesus for? So we're here this week because we don't want to sell him for anything. It's kind of ironic in contrast to the passage that we just read, that what precedes this event in the Gospel of Matthew is one of the most beautiful stories in all of Scripture. Jesus is again in Bethany with his friends, enjoying a dinner party with Mary, Martha, Lazarus, and Simon the leper, when a woman approaches him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume and begins to pour it over the head of Jesus. She breaks the jar and she pours that priceless ointment over the head of Jesus, filling the whole house where they were seated. And some of the disciples who were there, led by Judas, start to complain, saying, "What a waste." To which Jesus replies, "Why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing for me. Truly, I tell you, wherever this gospel is preached throughout the whole world, what she has done will be told in memory of her." And sure enough, we're here 2,000 years later outside of the Spy Museum in Washington, D.C., telling that same story. So as we continue to seek the Lord in this most holiest of weeks, let me ask you again, what is Jesus worth to you? Let's prepare ourselves to meet with him.
Jesus and his remaining 11 apostles had just finished the Passover meal. It was their last supper together before everything changed. After the Passover meal was complete, Jesus and his disciples left the borrowed room and went to Gethsemane. Now, Gethsemane is an olive grove. You can see it right down here. It's by the Kidron Valley on the lower slopes of the Mount of Olives. It's across the Kidron Valley from the Temple Mount, which you can see up there. Gethsemane means olive press in Hebrew, and it indicates that this was a commercial oil operation. Olive oil in the ancient world was a precious commodity, being used for everything from cooking to cleaning to skincare to lamp fuel. In addition to olive presses, Gethsemane was full of olive trees. In fact, there's still an olive grove preserved here today. The shelter of these trees made it a great place to seek solitude. It appears that Jesus and his disciples would come to a particular spot, a garden area buried within the olive groves. Jesus would take his closest friends here to rest and pray after long days in the temple complex. But this time it was different. Jesus was overwhelmed with anxiety. The Gospel of Matthew says that he told Peter, James, and John, "My soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch with me." Matthew 26:38. The Garden of Gethsemane, here at the foot of the Mount of Olives, is now protected by the walled grounds of the Church of All Nations, also known as the Church of the Agony. It's a peaceful garden among a grove of ancient olive trees, looking back at the eastern wall of the city of Jerusalem.
It's here that the Gospel of Luke says Jesus knelt down and prayed. Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. And there appeared to him an angel from heaven, strengthening him. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down to the ground. Luke 22:42 through 44.
Never before had Jesus' closest disciples heard such language from their teacher, and never before had they seen Jesus in such anguish. The scripture even goes on to tell us that Jesus sweated drops of blood. Now today, the medical community calls this very rare condition hematidrosis, or blood sweat, where the blood oozes from the forehead or the tear ducts, the nose or the nails. It can be caused by severe distress, and obviously, Jesus was in severe distress.
Gethsemane, the name of the olive grove itself, even contributes to the agony of the scene. Hebrew gat means press, and shemen means oil. It was as if Jesus' sorrow was so intense that he was being pressed, squeezed, crushed under the weight of a huge olive press.
Jesus fully understood everything that was about to transpire. And his prayer, nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done, was such an important moment in time. Some have said that that was the point that the entire battle was won. The final point of resolve to see his mission through to the end. No turning back. Jesus understood his identity. He understood his destiny. Jesus himself would be the final Passover lamb that was to be slain. Likely bolder now than before he left to pray, Jesus reconvened with his disciples and said this.
See, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand. Matthew 26:45 and 46.
As I walk through the Garden of Gethsemane today, it's remarkable to note that this section of trees dates to between 1,500 and 2,000 years ago. See those thick, gnarly trunks? Many scholars believe that these actual trees have been pruned back each year since the time of Jesus. So it's very possible that a few of these trees had a front row seat for what transpired next.
Now Judas, who betrayed him, also knew the place, for Jesus often met there with his disciples. So Judas, having procured a band of soldiers and some officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, went there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Then Jesus, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to them, "Whom do you seek?" They answered him, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus said to them, "I am he." John 18:2 through 5. Jesus, now a man fully resolved, faced Judas and the detachment of soldiers head on. He identified himself and willingly gave himself over to them.
Phil, what does Easter mean to you?
God have power and strong, and he create peoples.
Create people.
For Jesus, go to my heart.
Oh. Ryan, what does Easter mean to you?
Well, Easter means to me Jesus' crucifixion, the Last Supper, and when Jesus crucified for me, he died for me to save me. That's how I'm living right now.
There's a place where mercy reigns. where all the love I never found comes like a flood, comes flowing down. At the cross, I surrender my life. I'm in all of you. I'm in all of you. Where your love ran red and my sin washed white, I hold on to you. I hold on to you. Here, my hope is found. Here, on holy ground. Here I bow down. Here I bow down. Here our opens wide. Here you saved my life. Here I bow down. Here I bow at the cross.
So great to be together again tonight, to be with you. Thursday is going to be a little bit different. It's Maundy Thursday, the day that Jesus celebrated the Last Supper with his disciples. Instead of filming a video that day, the church is going to be open live between the hours of 7 to 10 p.m. And we're going to have playing on a continual loop Jesus' words from the Gospel of Matthew 13 through 17. And the front of the church is going to be set up like a tableau of the Last Supper. It's going to be candlelight. You can come at any point in the evening on Thursday between 7 and 10 and just spend time preparing your own heart, expressing your love to Jesus, presenting your needs to him. There'll also be self-serve communion that night. So we hope you can come at some point on Thursday evening. And God bless you as we get ready for the service tomorrow.